Purushaksam Bhagavatam Samasitam Buddhasundaranam Kandar Bhako Vidamaniyam Vishesha Shobham
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. ये प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा दान दिलो ये जन्म जन्म प्रभु से दान दिलो ये जन्म जन्म प्रभु से चाकू दान दिलो ये जन्म जन्म प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति आहा होइते अविद्या विनाशयते प्रेम भक्ति आहा होइते अविद्या विनाशयते गाय हर चरितो गाय हर चरितो गुरु करुणा सिंधु अगम जनर बंधु करुणा सिंधु अगम जनर बंधु गुरु करुणा सिंधु अगम जनर बंधु लोकनाथ लोके राजीवाना लोकनाथ लोके राजीवाना आहा प्रभु कोरो दया देहो मोरे पाद जया प्रभु कोरो दया देहो मोरे पाद जया आहा प्रभु कोरो दया देहो मोरे पाद जया एबे आसुत त्रिभुवाना एबे आसुत त्रिभुवाना प्रभुपाद पतित पावना दिल प्रभुपाद पतित पावना जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा दिल प्रभुपदा श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी नित्य नामिने नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण कृष्णाय श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांता नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी भाष्यत्यादिशकारिणे नमस्ते सरस्वती Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Jaya Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Kishori Vallabha, Radha Kishori Vallabha, Radha Kishori Vallabha, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Kishori Vallabha, Radha Kishori Vallabha, Radha Kishori Vallabha, Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhasa. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्रीमद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपादा की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन बीबीटी फाउंडराचार्य श्रील प्रभुपादा की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की श्री मथुरा धाम की श्री द्वारका धाम की श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की श्री वृंदावन धाम की गंगा मई की यमुना मई की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी देवी की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री हरनाम संकीर्तन याज्ञ की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। इस्कॉन ट्रांसलेंडर बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एंड प्रसादम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी। यमुना तीरवनचारी। Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Namami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna everyone, so good morning, thank you so much for coming. So today we're into the third session of Kurukshetra, and well, please forgive me, Kurukshetra is an intense place, so you have to bear with me. We talked about the battle of Kurukshetra, which is an intense subject matter, and we talked about fighting and the battle of life. And today we're moving on to the next dimension of Kurukshetra. So we talked about the Yuddha Kshetra, And today we're talking about Kurukshetra as a Dharma Kshetra. And this, I have to share with you, also carries a little bit of heaviness. So please forgive me if these classes are weigh a little heavy. The sweetness is coming. But even the sweetness is intense in Kurukshetra. It seems like Kurukshetra is just an intense place. So bear with me. Tomorrow we'll move on to other aspects, but today we have to honor Kurukshetra as a Dharma Kshetra. Kuru was a great king, and he performed many austerities at Kurukshetra, and he received the boon, or he requested the boon that Kurukshetra, any sacrifice that takes place at Kurukshetra must be successful. And benediction was also given that anyone who dies on the land of Kurukshetra, they will attain the heavens. So in that way, Kurukshetra is a Dharma Kshetra. Actually, one person once came to Prabhupada and he said, Prabhupada, Swamiji, I've got a real problem. I did my astrology and things, and he said to Prabhupada, the person told me in my last life, in one of my previous lives, I was in the battle of Kurukshetra. He said that to Prabhupada, and he said, but I was on the side against Krishna. So he said, the astrologer told me I had to come back. Prabhupada said, it's not possible. Everyone who died on Kurukshetra went back to they went to the heavens. Don't worry, it's not you. So, but actually so therefore the very first words of the Bhagavad Gita say that Kurukshetra is a Dharma Kshetra. So yes, so today we're talking about this. If you see, there's a developing motif of Krishna through Kurukshetra. First we encounter Krishna as the charioteer. So then our focus is on how we're fighting. The world is a harsh place. Now the motif will be that Kurukshetra is a Dharma Kshetra, therefore Krishna is now positioned not as the charioteer, but Krishna is positioned as the teacher. And therefore now Kurukshetra will turn into a classroom. And then later on, tomorrow, Kurukshetra will be positioned as the Viraha Kshetra. And there the motif of Krishna will be Krishna, the lover. So Krishna is a charioteer, he's with you in the fight. But Krishna is also a teacher. He's imparting wisdom that can help you navigate every single emotion, event, and experience of life. But Krishna is ultimately the lover. And what I'm trying to show is that when we appreciate Krishna as the charioteer and the teacher, then the full sweetness of Krishna as the lover can be experienced. So we are moving on. So again, I'm just saying that, thank you. Today may also be a little heavy. I'm just preparing you, but don't worry. In meals, you have to have shukta first, a little bit of bitter, and then you can have the sweet. So today we're turning to the Bhagavatam again, and if you remember in the last talk, I spoke from the 15th chapter of the first canto, which is a very beautiful chapter, very heavy chapter. Krishna has left the world and Arjuna is remembering everything that Krishna did for him. It's a very, very powerful lesson for a devotee. The word for gratitude in Sanskrit is krita gya, which literally means gya, to know, krita, what has been done. The literal word for gratitude is to know what has been done for you. We go in front of Krishna often with many demands, many expectations. But when one has deep gratitude, then they go in front of Krishna and they almost say, Krishna, what can I ask for? You already gave me so much more than I deserve. When gratitude is very, very high, then expectation is very, very low. And when gratitude is low, then one is always expecting. Great expectations mean great frustrations. Therefore, gratitude is said to be the mother of all qualities. One who has gratitude, all other good qualities can manifest in their character. So Arjuna is expressing his gratitude. Krishna did so much for me. In this chapter, he says, we received Draupadi as our wife because Krishna was there. We were able to defeat Jarasandha, who was undefeatable, because Krishna was there. when we were in a problem because Durvasa Muni was going to curse us because we wouldn't be able to feed him and the 60,000 sages, Krishna ate one morsel, boom, Yasmin Tusta, Jagan Tusta. Krishna eats one grain, the whole world is satisfied. The sages said, it's okay, we don't need prasad. Krishna saved us. So Arjuna is just remembering all the ways in which Krishna saved him. And then he said, Krishna saved me on the battlefield. We learned about that the other day. Krishna was doing all the tactics in the back. And so this chapter is beautiful. He's just saying, Krishna saved me, Krishna saved me, Krishna saved me. And then the chapter comes to a culmination because he said, and then Krishna did one thing which didn't just save me, but which saved generations to come. And what did Krishna do? He imparted the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. Kurukshetra is such an important place for us because not only is it the place where Arjuna's confusion becomes mitigated, it's the place where the Bhagavad Gita is born and therefore mankind's confusion is mitigated. Mark Twain says the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. So think about this very, very deeply. In Kurukshetra, the Bhagavad Gita was born, and the Bhagavad Gita is Krishna's actually greatest gift to the world because it's the only ways and means to mitigate confusion. And that is exactly what Arjuna is going to tell you this there now at the end of the chapter. So please repeat after me. Deshakalartha yuktani ritapo pasamani cha haranti smarataschitam Govinda bihitani me Deshakalartha yuktani Ritapo pasamani cha Haranti smarataschitam Govinda bihitani me Deshakalartha yuktani Ritapo pasamani cha Haranti smarataschitam Govinda bihitani me. Please repeat. Deshakalartha yuktani Ritapo pasamani cha Haranti smarataschitam Govinda vihitani me. Deshakalartha yuktani Ritapo pasamani cha Haranti smarataschitam Govinda vihitani me. Ladies. Deshakalartha yuktani Ritapo pasamani cha Haranti smarataschitam Govinda bihitani me. Translation in purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Now I am attracted to those instructions imparted to me by the personality of Godhead Govinda, because they are impregnated with instructions for relieving the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space. It's very, very beautiful, very simple Sanskrit. Ritapo. Tapo means heat. So ritapo means sometimes the heart is burning because we go through things, we experience things, and it burns the heart. And what Arjuna says is, my heart is burning because Krishna has left. What can burn your heart more than that? Krishna says, Sadhavo hridayam mayam sadhunam hridayam tvaham. I am in the hearts of my devotees and the devotees are in my heart. If Krishna leaves, what can be more heart-burning than that? But Arjuna is saying, now I am remembering Govinda, that Krishna, abhitani me, he instructed me. And those instructions, now I'm realizing, deshakalartha yuktani. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter in what time frame you're in. They always work. They will relieve the burning heart. So you can sometimes think that the Bhagavad Gita was what Arjuna needed at the start of Kurukshetra to convince him to fight. And now he got convinced by the Bhagavad Gita, he started fighting, he won the war. Now you don't need the Bhagavad Gita anymore. Now you can move on to other things. But here, Arjun's, after he's won the war and everything, he's saying, now I am again remembering the Bhagavad Gita. Which is very deep in one sense, because you remind yourself that this book is a constant companion on the journey. Okay, so this is an excerpt. The purport is very long, so forgive me, I'm not reading the whole purport. Please read the whole purport, it's beautiful. But just because of time and to stay focused, I'm just honing in on the part that relates to our topic today. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The problem which arose in the heart of Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra was solved by the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. Again, after the departure of the Lord from the vision of earthly people, when Arjuna was face to face with being vanquished in his acquired power and prominence, he wanted again to remember the great teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, just to teach all concerned that the Bhagavad Gita can be consulted in all critical times, not only for solace from all kinds of mental agonies, but also for the way out of the great entanglements which may embarrass one in some critical hour. Just look at Prabhupada's language, is so powerful. The merciful Lord left behind him the great teachings of the Bhagavad Gita so that one can take the instructions of the Lord even when he is not visible to material eyesight. Material senses cannot have any estimation of the Supreme Lord, but by his inconceivable power, the Lord can incarnate himself to the sense perception of the conditioned souls in a suitable matter through the agency of matter, which is also another form of the Lord's manifested energy. Thus the Bhagavad Gita, or any authentic scriptural sound representation of the Lord, is also an incarnation of the Lord. We worship Krishna, we worship the deities. The Bhagavad Gita is an equally worshipable divinity. There is no difference between the sound representation of the Lord and the Lord himself. One can derive the same benefit. One can derive the same benefit from the Bhagavad Gita as Arjuna did in the personal presence of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So a seminar on Kurukshetra wouldn't be complete if we didn't glorify the Bhagavad Gita. In the Gita Mahatmya it's explained, Sarvapani Shado Gavo Dogda Gopalanandana. If all the Sarva Vedanta, if all the Vedic scriptures are compared to a cow, Dugdam Gitam Mritam Mahat, then the Gita is like the milk. Why does a cow exist? The speciality of a cow is to give milk. Therefore, the Gita is the milk of all the Vedas. Shankara, he says, if all the Vedas are compared to a forest, then the Upanishads are compared to flowers. And then the Bhagavad Gita is compared to a garland. Elsewhere it said that the Ganga came in previous yugas from the higher planetary systems, touched the feet of the Lord and flowed into the world. And anyone who bathes in the Ganga, in the current of the Ganga, flows back to the lotus feet of the Lord. And that verse says that in the same way the Ganga came again to the world, but this time not through the feet, through the mouth of the Lord, in the form of the Bhagavad Gita. And anyone who bathes in that vibration, again through the current of that vibration, comes face to face with the Lord again. So like this, many, many beautiful glorifications of the Bhagavad Gita, and therefore this is perhaps what Kurukshetra is most famous for. Here, Arjuna is confused, and Krishna, if you can see in this picture, he's slightly smiling. So it's kind of annoying when you're going through a difficult time and somebody doesn't take you completely, it looks like they don't take you completely seriously. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he explains why Krishna is smiling. He says, because this is completely unprecedented. He says, because the first thing is that the most successful, the most established, the most Dhananjaya, the winner of everything, has become reduced. He's become reduced to a mouse. He doesn't know what to do. If a big personality like that is on the ground crawling, it's completely inconceivable. But then Vishwanath says the second reason Krishna is smiling is because he's thinking, I'm just a chariot driver, and now I've become the guru. Right? Like imagine you're at a university and somehow the janitor walks into the lecture room and starts giving the lecture. It's like a little strange. It's very like... So Vishwanath says Krishna is laughing because he's just like, I'm just a charioteer here. Like, and Vishwanath says the third reason Krishna is smiling, because a battlefield has become a classroom. Can you imagine? The last place a battlefield. Well, how did that become a classroom? It's the last place, it's the most intense, violent, gross place in the world is a battlefield, and it's become a classroom. So the Yuddha Kshetra has turned into the Dharma Kshetra. And so it's, but here Arjuna is confused. And therefore this Rittapa that the verse talks about, Rittapo Pasamani Cha, this Rittapa is universal. It's very, very... Last session I was talking about the battlefield. And we're all fighting. Remember, we're fighting inside, we're fighting even within the Sangha, and then the world, and sometimes people get injured. It's intense out there, and you can get injured, and the heart can start burning. So, what does this Rittapa mean? What is this confusion or burning of the heart? It can take place on different levels. One is I am losing. Ever feel like that in life? Things happen, there's a reversal, you think, I'm losing, I'm on the back foot here, I don't think... So Arjuna is thinking, I'm losing. Because he's thinking, if I lose the battle, I'm gone. All over. Game over. And if I win the battle, I also lose. Kim no rajena govinda, kim na bhoger vivitena va. Arjuna says, what's the point of winning a kingdom when everyone you love is going to die? So Arjuna is thinking, I am losing. I'm on the back foot here. Therefore the heart is burning. In life, sometimes you'll think like you're losing and the heart will burn. But sometimes what happens is it gets even more intense, and you may think, I'm not just losing, I am lost. Then it gets more intense. If you're losing, it's still okay, like you still have a direct, but at one point in life, people may come to the conclusion, I'm not just losing, I'm lost. One person once said to me, how old are you? I said, 45. He said, you're in the zone. I said, what do you mean? He said, midlife crisis. Sometimes it happens. Right? So far, touch me. I'm lost. So Arjuna also, now it's not just that he's losing, he's also thinking, I'm lost. I don't know who I am. I only see causes of misfortune. But dear friends, it could get even more intense, because at one point you could think, I am a loser. This is even more intense. Because at one point in life you may think, not only am I lost, I'm a loser. I can't make it out. It happens. And people are driven to do the most unimaginable things because they convince themselves, I am a loser. Now, dear friends, these things, to some extent, happen to everyone. At one point in life, one or a combination of these things will happen to everyone. And the key question is, when the heart is burning, how do I keep going? This is the key question. And Arjuna can't keep going. Vipatuscha sharire me romaharshascha jayate gandivam shramshate hasta tvakcheva paridayate. Arjuna was the most valiant warrior. He said, if anyone ever tells me to put the Gandiva bow down, I'll kill them. A Kshatriya can never put his bow down. That's a massive insult. But this same Arjuna that said, if anyone tells me to put my Gandiva bow down, I'll kill them, the same Arjuna, Gandivam shramsate hastat. The Gandiva bow is slipping from his hand. He's saying, I can't do it. I've come to the end of it. I'm losing. I'm lost. It looks like I'm a loser. How do you keep going? So this is a major question in life. And well, I'm going to show you a video. And the reason I'm going to show you this video is actually I had a I won't embarrass who it was here. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's wonderful, actually, but I won't. I met one family here just 2 days ago. So they've come here for the first time. And the daughter is 16, young lady. So the parents said, we came to the Bhakti retreat because she wanted to come. So I said, oh, wow. So they said, yeah, we've come here, we've come to the Bhakti retreat, but then, and then we're going to go on somewhere afterwards. So devotees usually do that. They have like a spiritual holiday and then a chill out holiday. It's okay, it's good to chill out sometimes, go to the beach or something, You can do bhajans on the beach as well. So I was thinking, oh yeah, that's interesting. That's what devotees generally do. There's a spiritual holiday and then you just tag on something, like, I don't know, Turkey or something, or Morocco or whatever. It's okay. So then I looked at her and I was like, oh right, so where are you gonna go after? Like Venice, south of France? I was thinking in my mind like, oh, like where's she gonna go after? They said no, she wanted to come to the Bhakti retreat and there was a very specific place she wants to go after, so we're gonna go there. I said, well, maybe it's nice, maybe I can also chill out. Said Auschwitz. I was like, okay, wow. It's like, she's 16? said, yeah, she wants to go Auschwitz. I looked at her, I said, why do you want to go Auschwitz? She said, we had a little conversation, she said, because I feel it will make me grateful for my life. I was like, wow, it's like 16 years old, it's an old soul, amazing. And so because she said that, I'm going to play this video for you, because this question of how do I keep going, as you know, was a question that many of you may know the author Viktor Frankl, who asked this question. Having come and survived Auschwitz, clearly he was meditating, how do people keep going in their life, even when Rittapa, the heart is burning through so much around them. And this is his conclusion.
Auschwitz, the Nazi death camp where more than 1 million people, mainly Jews, were murdered. People with families and friends. Ordinary people robbed of their future. Each had their own unique story of how they came to be at Auschwitz. Only a minority survived. And today, decades later, very few can explain what happened there.
Most of us have never been in the concentration camp experience. We've never had to go through that horror and tragedy, and so one would think that today it would be easier to find meaning in life. And yet, I sense that it's more difficult in a sense today than it was in years past. Do you think that?
You are absolutely right.
Well, why is that?
Because we are living in a society, either in terms of an affluent society or in terms of a welfare state, as we in Austria are living in. Anyway, these types of societies virtually, or at least they are out, virtually to satisfy and gratify each and every human need, except for one need, the most basic and fundamental need operant in man, the need for meaning. Consumer societies even creating needs, but the need for meaning, or as I'm used to referring to it, the will to meaning remains unfulfilled. It's what I'm used to calling recently the unheard cry for meaning. You scarcely will find any reference to what is the most fundamental and basic concern of man. Neither pleasure nor happiness, nor power or prestige, but originally and basically his wish, his desire to find and fulfill a meaning in his life, or for that matter, in each single life situation confronting him. And if there is a meaning to fulfill, if he's aware, if he becomes cognizant of such a meaning, then he's ready to suffer, he's ready to offer sacrifices, he's ready to undergo tension, stress, and so forth, without any harm being done to his health.
So this is Viktor Frankl's conclusion, that what keeps people going? And he says meaning, which is actually, I think, very, very profound. If you see there, he says, life is not about pleasure, power, prestige, but actually fundamentally it's about meaning. And so this is very, very powerful, because this is exactly what Arjuna is going to do on the battlefield. That is what Krishna is going to do on the battlefield. He is going to re-inspire Arjuna with meaning. Because if you have meaning, you can get through anything. There are different ways to see the world. Many people are seeing the world through the senses and the sentiments. Actually, 99% of people in the world are seeing the world only through the senses and the sentiments. In other words, things happen, we perceive it through our body, and then we feel something about it based on our emotions. If you perceive the world through your senses and sentiments, there are going to be times when you think, I'm losing, I'm lost, and I'm a loser. There's no question. If someone is seeing life through the senses and the sentiment, you will at some point come to this conclusion, and then you will have to question, how can I keep going? The great gift of Krishna is that Krishna teaches us you can now elevate your vision and start seeing through the scripture. Because what scripture does is it gives you meaning, it gives you purpose, and it gives you a reason for existing. Remember, if we don't have meaning, purpose, or reason for existing, it doesn't matter what happens in life. If you get pleasure, but there's no meaning to the pleasure, people often experience that very same pleasure causes them absolute depression. And the amazing thing is, if there's pain in your life, but through that pain you see meaning, you see progress, you see destination, you see growth, evolution, and movement towards something significant, then you won't just accept the pain, you can embrace the pain. And so, where we can find meaning is the greatest question in life. And that's why the Bhagavad Gita becomes such an important source of information. And eventually, one then, through purification, learns to see the world as a soul. When we have developed our vision sufficiently, we're living in this world, we're seeing everything just as everyone else, but we are seeing something very different. We're perceiving something very, very different. We're kind of, as Krishna says, we're in the world, but we're not really participating here in the same way. And so what Krishna's project is in the Bhagavad Gita is to take Arjuna's vision all the way here. And if you look at the progression of the 45-minute conversation, you can very clearly see when Arjuna is looking through here, when Arjuna is looking through here, and finally how Arjuna reveals to Krishna that he's looking through here. That's the great opportunity that all of us have. And that's what the Bhagavad Gita is meant for. So if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, obviously 18 chapters long, 700 verses, exactly 700. And if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, then basically there are many conversations taking place here actually. Well, there are two main, but another conversation as well. There's an outer conversation which is taking place. And that conversation is taking place between Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya. And where is that taking place? Hastinapur. So that begins in 1-1 and that ends in 1878. The question is, Mamaka Pandavascheva Kimakur Vata Sanjaya. What happened? And by 1878 the answer is there. Yatra Yogeshvara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanodara. Basically, what did they do? They're going to lose. That's the conversation. That's what it is. So this, we can say, is the outer conversation of the Bhagavad Gita. And then there's an inner conversation, which is obviously between Arjuna and Krishna. So that's the inner conversation. And where does that take place? Kurukshetra. And that starts in 2:7. Dharma Shamuda Krishna, I'm confused. And that ends in 1873. Nastamoha Shmriti Labdva Tvat Prasadat Mayachuta Stitosmi Gata Sandeha Karishye Vachanam Tava. Nastamoha, all my illusion is gone. I'm good. No more confusion. No more rittapa. I'm fine. But the ultimate conversation, we can say, takes place within the heart of each and every living entity, and that's the conversation between the soul and God. And therefore, the Bhagavad Gita, what it is it's modeling the conversation that everyone will go through. And how are each of these conversations, if you think about 1, 2, 3, there's one thing that triggers each of these conversations, and that is doubt. When people go through doubt in the world, they think they're losing, that something's wrong, that they get like very displaced by that. But actually, doubt is the breeding ground of discovery. But the difference is, some people ignore doubts and some people address doubts. But even the people who address doubts, some people don't know where to go, or they go to the wrong place. Let's say here, wrong place. And some people are brave enough to address the doubts, and they go to the right place, where they can get knowledge, where they can get information. So therefore, Krishna says, this person, Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kashkit Yadati Siddhaye, that person, very rare, very rare. So this is what Krishna is doing to Arjuna. He's helping him find meaning. In this purport, or I didn't read the whole purport, Prabhupada will explain the 5 topics of the Gita. In the first line of the verse, Arjuna says, Deshakalartha yuktani. When you find something that stands true in all times, places, and circumstances, and underpins universal reality, that is known as a tattva. And in the Bhagavad Gita, there are five tattvas. So, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but just very quickly. Of course, we know Ishvara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What does Ishvara do? Prakriti, manifest the material world. What does Ishvara also do? Jiva, manifest the living entity. So these are the tattva traya. These are the first 3 principles. You must understand it deeply. Then the 4th topic of the Gita, how does Ishvara modulate the Prakriti or the material world? Kala, through time. And what is the mechanism by which the Jiva is interacting in the Prakriti? Karma. And what is the way by which the Jiva then reconnects to Ishvara? Yoga. Therefore, every chapter of the Gita is a yoga. This, dear friends, I don't have time to go through it today. This is incredibly powerful. This is the entire blueprint of universal reality. What Krishna is proposing in the Gita is that if you know these 5 tattvas deeply, you can answer any conceivable question that anyone could ever come up with. Deshakalartha yuktani rittapo pashamani cha. You can never become confused. It's not possible. If you understand the 5 tattvas deeply and you achieve yoga, which is the ultimate purpose of the Bhagavad Gita, there's no way, rittapa, you can't become confused. And that's why the Bhagavad Gita is so powerful. And what is that meaning? That purpose? Dharma, obviously, as we know, is polyvalent. There's so many meanings to Dharma. But today, I'm using Dharma in the sense of meaning. What Bhagavad Gita is doing is teaching us meaning. And we often share this with people, that there are basically 2 verses in the Gita which are repeated verbatim. And these are extremely significant because what they are basically revealing to us is our 2 purposes. You see here the Sanskrit in the 3rd chapter and in the 18th chapter. Krishna repeats this verse almost verbatim to repeat something so in such a short time, I mean, in such a short book, it means it must be significant. And we know this is the other repeated verse of the Gita, right? Sorry, this is wrong verse, 934. So, what Krishna is doing is revealing to Arjuna. Remember, Arjuna is losing, he's lost, he thinks he's a loser. Krishna is like, I need to elevate your understanding. I'm going to take you beyond the senses, the sentiments. I'm going to take you to Shastra. Now he's teaching Shastra, you have two purposes. Okay? These are the two purposes in English. The first thing Krishna is saying, everyone has a swadharma. And then Krishna is saying everyone has a Sanatan Dharma. These are two meanings. If these meanings are understood very deeply with clarity, you just can never be confused. That's the point Krishna is making. This is our immediate duty. This is our ultimate duty. Here, we're talking about specifics. Here, we're talking about universals. Here, we're talking about an external duty. Here, we're talking about the innermost duty that each one of us have. So the whole Bhagavad Gita is meant to nurture us into understanding these two dharmas very, very deeply. And if we can do that, if we can understand in this psycho-physical frame, there's something I'm meant to do in this chapter of my existence. I have meaning, I have purpose. Right? The biggest problem in the world is people have a sense of, I'm useless, I have nothing to do. See, like a materialistic person may know their swadharma, but they will end up miserable because they don't know their Sanatan Dharma. Clear. But a devotee may know their Sanatan Dharma, but if they don't know their Swadharma, they may also become depressed. Therefore, you need to know both. You need to have a sense of meaning, purpose, utility when you wake up in the morning and frame that within the longer journey that someone is in. And so this is why Krishna gives us the Bhagavad Gita, to understand Dharma very, very clearly, very, very deeply. If your why, if your understanding, if your reason for existence is deep enough, you can deal with anything. You can deal with anything. Krishna says, some describe the soul as amazing, some see the soul as amazing, some experience the soul as amazing, and some, after even hearing all of this, can't understand how amazing the soul is. The soul is amazing. But the soul minus meaning, the soul minus purpose, becomes completely disempowered. And so, this Dharma Shamuda, this is something that all of us, maybe we've already gone through it, maybe we are going through it, or maybe it's yet to come. But there will be confusing things. What is my Dharma? Many are just don't know. Even when you know, how do you balance all your different Dharmas? That's another confusion about Dharma. Even when you know what you should do, why is it that we don't do our Dharma? And sometimes we don't know how exactly our Swadharma and our Sanatan Dharma fit together. That's also a problem. And therefore the whole purpose of the Gita is to disentangle the Dharma Shamuda of Arjuna and the Dharma Shamuda that every single person in the world will go through. And what is the purpose of all of this Dharma? Because later on Krishna will say, Sarva Dharman Harityaja, give it all up. Krishna is very funny, you know, like first he says, Dharma samstha panarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge, I'm coming to establish Dharma. And then Krishna says, 35 minutes later, give it up. Because yato bhaktir adoksajay, Krishna is going to say, give it up, not to descend into adharma. No, Krishna is not saying give up dharma and descend into adharma. Krishna is going to say give up dharma and rise to baro dharma, the highest duty, which is bhakti. And therefore, this is what the Gita is doing. So let me just say one more thing. So this is Krishna, this is Arjun. I don't know, how am I going to keep going? Right? I'm lost, I'm losing, I'm lost, I'm a loser. Right? And then Krishna elevates him, then he knows this is it. Look at this. If you just meditate, this is what happens. This is what can happen in 45 minutes. Complete transformation. That's why to understand the Gita deeply is a great a superpower. Someone understands the Gita deeply, it's a superpower, because it gives you the whole existential framework. So now I'm just going to say a final few things. So, the first project is to establish bhakti as the highest goal of life, and that's what Krishna does in the Bhagavad Gita. He establishes bhakti. So therefore Krishna will say, Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana. You can be many types of yogis. Madgaten antaratmana, the one who's united internally with me, is the highest yogi. So the project of the Gita is to establish bhakti, but then we need to see examples, right, of bhakti. So then the project of the Bhagavatam is to show you the living examples of those people who have bhakti. It's an anthology of pure devotion. But then what happens is that after the Bhagavatam is composed, something very special happens. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to the world, and his Goswami followers reveal what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart is. And therefore, through their literature, what happens is now bhakti has been established and exemplified. But what the Goswamis do is they elevate our understanding of bhakti by revealing Vraja Bhakti. It's a very special type of bhakti. And then what the Goswamis will do is they'll teach you how to experience bhakti by practicing sadhana, evolving into bhava, and then finally maturing in prema bhakti. They'll give you a process. So it's a very, very beautiful journey. Bhakti is blossoming through all of these literatures. First, the Gita establishes bhakti is the goal. Then the Bhagavatam tells you this is how it's experienced and expressed. But then the Goswamis will reveal. If the Bhagavatam reveals Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Goswamis reveal who is the Supreme Personality of Krishna. Shyamameva param rupam puri madhupuri vara veyakaishorakam dhyayam adya eva paro rasa. Krishna has many forms. Shyamameva param rupam. But Krishna, who is Shyam Sundar, that Vraja Krishna, as Sachinanda Maharaj was explaining, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajay Satanayas Dadhama Vrindavanam. So we want to get there. And then the Goswamis will explain through books like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu how to actually do it. But why am I saying all of this? Because everything is built upon the existential and metaphysical framework of the Bhagavad Gita. If that is strong, if that is impenetrable, then one can never become bewildered. And when one is sudrida manasha, when one's mind is vyavasayatmika, so fixed because of an understanding of the tattva that Krishna gives, and one can wake up in the morning and say, Nasta moha, I'm not in illusion anymore, then everything opens up. Everything opens up to everything else. And that's the great gift of Krishna. Therefore, first Krishna is the charioteer, then Krishna is the teacher, and then Krishna emerges as the lover and invites us. First, Krishna is holding a conch shell. And then later on, Krishna is holding a flute. But the conch shell means conquest. First, you have to conquer. Tato Jaya Mudiraye. The Bhagavatam is the very means of conquest. So, these dimensions of Kurukshetra are very fascinating. And now, tomorrow, after giving you all of this, we will go into Viraha Kshetra. And Viraha Kshetra means now we're dealing with this. We're dealing with something much, much higher. But Viraha Kshetra, without Dharma Kshetra, therefore, Prabhupada says, Vrindavan, what is that quote Prabhupada had? Krishna's Leela, either in Kurukshetra and Vrindavan, the same thing, we should know. And so I'll end by just saying that Krishna's great gift to us and Srila Prabhupada's great gift to us is the Bhagavad Gita. And Lord Shiva says, Maline Moshanam Pumsham Jalashnanam Dine Dine Gita Shakrit Bhashi Shnanam Samsara Malanashanam. This is Shiva. This is Shiva saying this. Shiva is Vaishnavanam Yatha Sambhu. It's pretty high. He's saying just as we wake up every day in the morning and cleanse our body with water, Jalashnanam Dine Dine, similarly every single day, Gita Shakrit Bhashi Shnanam, if one takes the Shnanam in the Bhasha, the words of the Gita, Samsara Malanashanam, then all the inebrities of the material world, all the contamination, all the negativity, all the self-defeating talk immediately is cleansed. Because in the midst of these 5 tattvas, you can place everything. So this is the Bhagavad Gita, and therefore I'm sharing this dimension of Kurukshetra with you. It's the place where meaning is born. Meaning that Krishna wants to give for generations to come. And that's why this dimension of Kurukshetra is extremely important. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All right, so some thoughts there. If anyone has any questions or yes, okay. Prabhu, I think if you just give to Sachin and the Maharaj first, and then we'll go to the please.
Excellent presentation, really excellent. You can see that there was a lot of years of thought and contemplation. One of the points you mentioned is may know
There's Svadharma here.
like Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones knows I have to sing. But because he doesn't know Sanatan Dharma, he suffers. Then you said a devotee may know Sanatan Dharma, the philosophy, but because he may not know what he's meant to do here as a human being, because he doesn't know his mission, he also suffers. Do you have some insights that might help a devotee to find the Svadharma? Because I do find, as someone who talks a lot to devotees, that is a question which comes up repeatedly. You must also find this existential crisis sometimes in the life of devotees. So what could they do to find their Svadharma? Can you please give some ideas?
I think Maharaj has better answers than me on this, but I'll share whatever I can say. As a basic framework, sorry, everything works in acronyms for me, it's just easier to... Sorry about that. One time Kadamba Maharaj said, "I'll never give class like you." All these acronyms and everything. And then when I was about to take sannyas, he said to me, "If you keep doing acronyms when you take sannyas, I'm going to give you the name His Holiness ABC Swami." So I haven't learnt my lesson, but here we go. Analyze, ask, attempt. I think these are like the three basic things that I think first some analysis. I have not done it myself, but Mother Urmila has a Kariya Dharma book and course. In the room we have some Kariya Dharma coaches. I know I won't plug them out until they give me a fee. There's no fee. So sometimes this is very, very powerful because we don't take the time. We're very disconnected from our sense of identity. Because we're surrounded by opinions, expectations, trends and traditions, it's very difficult for us to see ourselves. So therefore, spending some time to analyze, do personality tests, try to understand your gunas, look at the models of the Shastra and see, so just really doing some time. Sometimes that analysis may also require one to remove themselves from their current situation. In the academic world, they call this deprovincialization. We have a very provincial mentality because we grew up in a certain place, surrounded by a certain number of people, and therefore to understand anything about ourselves separate from them is very difficult because we're just hijacked. Therefore, deprovincialization means to eject yourself and go somewhere else, go with other people, explore. That's why generally when people are young, they go traveling. Because when you travel, then you deprovincialize yourself and then you are able to break free from narratives. The most dangerous phrase in the English language is, "We've always done it this way." So the first thing is analyze. But analyzing by yourself will be maybe limited. Therefore, then you ask. You have coaches, you have guides, you have shiksha gurus. And this means not just that you ask someone randomly, but you have to invest in a relationship with someone. Sometimes we think, oh, I just need to ask someone. Okay, let me ask someone then. But how the depth of their answer is going to be dependent on the depth of their relationship and understanding of you. So if we don't invest in a relationship of spiritual studentship with someone who knows us or someone who wants to know us, how will we be able to get deep answers on your Dharma? Therefore, Brahmachari, Gurukule, Vasandanta Guroritam, Acharan Dasavanicho. This is what the Bhagavatam says. You have to begin in the Gurukul with someone who observes you. So this is also very good if you have someone in your life who you can ask. And then sometimes, let's just be realistic. In the world we're living in, you got to just attempt things. Sometimes people just become paralysis by analysis. I don't know, Prabhu, it's not my Dharma. Maybe it's not my Dharma. Okay, maybe not. Try something, do something. You have to try, and like that. I think also sometimes attempt means sometimes you have to do things even if it's not your dharma for the higher purpose of service. And sometimes by doing that, Krishna rewards you with a realization of what your dharma is sometimes. Because sometimes we can become so dharma focused that we forget to be a servant. Prabhu, I can't wash the pots, it's not my dharma. You can't. Krishna says twice, he says it twice. You must do your own occupation. I'm not a pot washer. Twice. So okay, but sometimes to just serve, to be selfless, of course, we must ultimately find, because we may not be able to maintain that. So like this, I think through analysis, asking, attempting. I was just telling devotees in the car here that I feel very unqualified to talk about finding dharma. Because I feel like in my life I was just so lucky that I fell into my dharma without even trying. I was so lucky. So like, I can understand how much of a struggle it is sometimes for devotees to really find like, what is my thing? But it can be done, but you know, to put some effort into it. These are some thoughts, Maharaja. I hope it helps in some way. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much. Also to that point of Swadharma and a connection to Arjuna speaking in the beginning to Krishna, one of the arguments about Varna Sankara. And just this concept of Varna Sankara, and from my understanding, it means that people who are born in certain circumstances, they have a karma which is not so clear what's actually their swadharma. And you just mentioned many devotees, they're struggling with finding swadharma. How do we take this into consideration and address that reality? That many of us might have a certain background which is not helping so much. Yeah.
Yeah, in the first chapter, Krishna says, Adharma bhibavat Krishna pradyushanti kulashtriya strishu dushta shuvarshneya jayate varna shankara. It almost seems like a double thing, like from adharma, irreligion, comes varna shankara, and then varna shankara like perpetuates irreligion or adharma. So yes, family upbringing, samskaras, is a massive thing. Therefore, as a movement, to focus on that is a big thing. But yeah, what about everyone else who's coming a bit late to the what happens to them? Well, Shastra has already predicted it. Kalo Sudra Sambhava. Actually, in Kali Yuga, everyone's a Sudra. Right? Even those born in Vedic culture, sometimes people think, oh, I'm in the West, it's me, it's West, the West, the West. The East isn't that much better, to be honest, if I'm honest with you. So what do we do about this? It's a fight. It's hard. Conditioning is heavy. We have to be honest, right? Like if we didn't grow up with some samskaras, if we didn't grow up with that stability, then it means we're carrying certain impressions and conditionings. But what can we do apart from take shelter of the process? Mamchayo vyapacharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan. There's only one way to go sagunan, beyond your modes, beyond your conditionings. There's only one way. Bhakti yogena sevate. We have to take shelter of the process. Therefore, we become self-aware of what my conditionings are, what I'm carrying from my previous upbringing. We ask, we get help from devotees, and then we have to begin acting and trying and elevating our consciousness as possible, right? Like you see so many saintly devotees, like so many saintly devotees, and didn't have the best past. So it's possible, you know. I was once going past a church and it had a sign and it said, every saint had a past and every sinner has a future. Right? It was a good sign. Sometimes we look at a saintly person and we think, oh yeah, they must have born Brahmin, everything. No, not necessarily. If you work. Kama sarva kamova bhakti moksha kama udaredi tivrena. But it has to be tivra. You may have every desire under the sun because of your upbringing. Tivrena. But if you're intense, if you focus, what Krishna is teaching in the Gita. Basically, Arjuna is saying you can never be bewildered or confused if you know the Gita well. So, yeah, it's hard, you know. We're carrying a lot. Conditioning is so strong. And then what can I say? Beyond all of that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu is our hope. Because dushkaram sukharam bhaved vishmite viparisham tyat Shri Chaitanyam namamitam. Then the added mercy of Gauranga and the holy name and the Sankirtan movement can also add another layer of spiritual mercy. So I hear you, it's tough, but the process is amazing. But we have to apply. Absorb. I'm here today stressing the Gita because I really feel like if you learn the Gita and you take the guidance of someone who knows the Gita, you can work through all these things. Very powerful. I tried something. I see many hands. Yes, yes. On the video? Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. While you were speaking with confidence, I felt goosebumps, so I don't know what will happen tomorrow. Thank you. So I would just like to have if it is allowed, to have some personal comment on the video, because just to stress the point of meaning. In my family, my aunt was also sent to Dachau or to Auschwitz, and she was maybe a little older than 16, and she got the meaning from her father, my grandfather. He told her, you survive, and when you come back, you will write what is happening there. And she survived. And they brought her back in a backpack. She was 36 kilos. She wrote the book, the diary, and then she left the world. And my father survived Dachau. And maybe he gave up, maybe because of he didn't have the strength, but he had a friend. And the friend pulled him out from the pile of corpses before the cremation ovens. So he survived because of the friend. And I was thinking, Arjuna had a friend who helped him.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. We know that on the path of devotional service, it is required that we develop a rich inner life. And I was thinking how you would recommend that we polish our sense of discernment. And this question came, you were speaking about how Arjuna went from feeling that I will kill anyone who makes me put down the Gandiva, to becoming the same person, having a different relationship with the Gandiva, where he says he feels burdened by it. And sometimes we have our own Gandivas also. And yes, one question is, how do I go on? But sometimes, because we have changed so much as persons, our inner life has become enriched. We have to discern whether to go on or change our direction. So how would you recommend that we develop that sense of discernment?
Thank you so much. So you mean like keep going in a situation, keep fighting, or just to retire and stop and do something else?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think someone asked a similar question the other day, like how do you, I think Maharaja asked that point, how do you know this is your battlefield? And so there I said three things, you know, like the first thing is that the very connected devotee is very intuitive. You can meet actually many devotees like this I've experienced in the Krishna consciousness movement are extremely intuitive. They will say things they don't even, it's almost like it's not intellectually processed. They say things and then later on they kind of intellectually, but they said it immediately. It's very amazing actually. So there are devotees, and you can also develop this very intuitive capacity, but it means to really connect with Paramatma. That means to have a very deep inner dialogue. You know, people like Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was like writing to Prabhupada every day. I mean, just think about such a rich inner life, to be so connected to your spiritual master, to write all these letters every day to your spiritual master and never send them. Clearly this is someone who has a very deep inner dialogue. I was once in the Oxford, there's a Campion Hall, I think it's like a Jesuit, is that right, Maharaj? Jesuit library, yeah. And I was sitting there, I was answering my emails actually. Should have been doing, could have made more use of it, but I was sitting there and in this Oxford library, and then I turned left and I saw a book by Thomas Merton, and so I was like, oh, right, that's interesting, I'll pick that one up. Thomas Merton read the Bhagavad Gita, he's bona fide. Not just because of that. So I was like, it was very interesting, you know, very rich internal life. And then I looked at the shelf, and the whole shelf was Thomas Merton, like his diaries. I was like, wow, there's a lot of diaries there, you know. And then I looked at the shelf above, and it was all Thomas Merton, and it was like the multiple shelves, and I was like, my God, this person has written so much. I mean, this person is really like thinking deeply about things, you know. Like this person is like, it really inspired me that, you know, there are people who are just incredibly introspective. Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavatam, a devotee should be as introspective as a non-devotee is speculative. Very interesting line Prabhupada writes. But we don't have space in today's world to think, no space to think. Just rushing from one thing to the next, trying to stay afloat. So it's hard, but yeah, that introspective capacity. So when Maharaj asked, I said intuition, then I said, yeah, take guidance, you know, a network around you, and then be very self-aware. What's my dharma, right? When you know what your dharma is, when you know what you're meant to be doing, when you know what your goal and your contribution is, then you know which battles to fight and which battles to say, it's okay, I don't need to fight this one. I can take up something else and reach my dharma and fulfill my dharma quicker. So if you know where you're going, then it's easier. You have a reference point for decisions. But they say, if you don't know where you're going, then any path will take you there. Right? So it's very difficult to discern a path. That's why people have so much problem with decision making. Why in the world today do people have so much problem making life decisions? Because there's a lack of a reference point. How do you make a decision if you don't know where you're trying to go? Once you know that, everything else becomes much easier. So I'm not trying to present it in a very black and white. It's difficult. Like we're finding Dharma is unfolding. You can't just one day say, this is it. So I've kind of gone round and round and maybe not answered your question, but just said maybe we have to be very introspective. Devotees have to be deeply thoughtful. Bhagavatam is understood by expert and thoughtful people to be deeply thoughtful. And that means to sit with a book like the Bhagavad Gita and be deeply thoughtful. Not just that I read it, I memorized it, I did. To be deeply thoughtful with that book. Okay, I think I'm going on and on. I see many hands, but I think we should finish here and then we can perhaps future. I think so. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.